The inconsistencies. The sweatshirt story was added after we were told they had DNA. The last person to see Abby and Libby alive. Knowing exactly where they went down the hill. The hair wrapped around Abby's lifeless finger. All points to one person. Kelsi. I do not think Kelsi is a cold-blooded killer. Do I think Rick Allen killed Abby and Libby? No. I believe the killer was younger, around Kelsi's age. Why do I believe that? I believe that because Kelsi said he was. In the interview, the one she did with Rainer, you know, the one when she mentioned the shack. Anne oddly cackled about it.
Well, have you seen the shack?
I have not, but my father read the book, and I...
She said during that interview. Now that I know the killer is more my age, I look at everyone at my school. They interrogated most of my friends. That interview in its whole was posted but shortly after edited, removing the part when she mentions the killer being more her age. All of the journalists who edited interviews at the request of law enforcement or family should take another look at them. They hold the truth to what happened that fateful day. Posted by Kelsi, February 13, 2017. Some boys are incredibly dumb. I will not edit rolls or double chins out of the pictures I take for you. Even if you're paying me to take them. Posted by Kelsi, December 16, 2016. 2017 is probably going to be a bittersweet emotional mess, but I am going to make the most of it. Posted by Kelsi, May 8, 2016. I will not edit rolls or double chins out of the pictures I take for you. Even if you're paying me to take them. Posted by Kelsi, February 13, 2017. Some boys are incredibly dumb.
Talk about a fake social media account that may be connected to the crime.
So she was very good at making people feel good.
5 years have passed since Becky Patty saw her granddaughter Liberty German, a bright 14-year-old girl called Libby, who excelled in school and dreamt of one day helping to solve the crimes she watched on TV. And then the unthinkable happened. Libby and her best friend, 13-year-old Abigail Williams, disappeared while hiking along the popular Monon High Bridge Trail in their hometown of Delphi, Indiana. They were found murdered the next day.
The coroner's van come driving by. That's when it hit me that she wasn't alive.
Wasn't until December 2021 that police announced their most promising lead, a fake social media profile called Anthony_Shots. The profile showed photos of a young male model, but the account really belonged to someone entirely different.
I know for a fact that this Anthony Shots account did have contact with Libby. I feel that he knows more than he says. Because then I had to face the fact that I didn't monitor her phone or social media enough.
While police haven't said how the girls were murdered, Patty confirmed an important detail.
Police have said there was DNA. They have made the comment that there was DNA.
Kelsi German, who dropped the girls off at the hiking trail that day, the last image of her sister, carefree and smiling, is forever frozen in time.
I remember us just being so happy in the car and listening to 21 Pilots. And the windows were open and it was just so warm. And she got out of the car and told me she loved me.
The inconsistencies. The sweatshirt story. That was added after we were told they had DNA. The last person to see Abby and Libby alive. Knowing exactly where they went down the hill. The hair wrapped around Abby's lifeless finger. All points to one person. Kelsi. 17-year-old Kelsi. Often played the role of the protector for her 14-year-old sister, Libby. They lived in Delphi, a small rural town in Indiana with their grandparents. The two were inseparable, but as they grew older, the differences between them began to create an invisible rift. Kelsi discovered that Libby had been chatting with a boy named Anthony Schatz, who presented himself as a charming, wealthy older boy. His messages were filled with flattery and romantic gestures that made Kelsi's blood boil. She couldn't believe her little sister was falling for someone so much older and seemingly too good to be true. Jealousy twisted in her gut as she watched them interact on social media, fueled by a nagging sense of protectiveness. Kelsi decided to take matters into her own hands. She logged onto Libby's account, crafting messages with an alluring mix of innocence and boldness. Acting as if she were Libby, Kelsi arranged a meetup with the boy at a secluded spot, an old, abandoned bridge called the Moon on High Bridge. On a dreary Monday afternoon when the girls had the day off of school, Kelsi took the younger girls and headed to the bridge. It was an unseasonably warm day, but shadows loomed in places hidden from the light. They walked to the bridge, a rusty relic of the town's history that had long been abandoned. As they approached, Kelsi's excitement was tempered by a creeping doubt. The bridge creaked underfoot, and the creek below seemed to echo their footsteps ominously. Kelsi's heart raced, but not for the reason one might assume. She was filled with a mix of anticipation and dread. What would this boy look like? The stillness around them felt heavy. Maybe we should turn back, or go down the hill because there's no path, Libby said, but Kelsi shook her head. Suddenly, behind Abby as she finished crossing at the far end of the bridge, a figure emerged from the shadows behind her. As he stepped into the dimming light, her excitement turned to horror. Heart racing, Kelsi squinted, hoping it was him. But as he drew closer, her heart sank. The man in front of her wasn't who she thought. The sweet, charming boy she'd been chatting with was replaced by someone who sent chills down her spine. The charm that had lured Kelsi in was replaced by something dark and predatory. Libby whispers to Kelsi about the man following them. Abby realizes he's behind her.
See, this is the path that we go down. There's no path going there, so we have to go down here. Hi.
He then told the girls to go down the hill. Libby and Abby start to head down the hill. Panic surged through Kelsi, and without thinking, she turned to flee. Run. Go back, she shouted to Libby and Abby, urging them towards the path as fear overwhelmed her. But the girls were frozen, staring at the man with confusion. Kelsi turned and fled, her heart pounding against her chest as she sprinted away from the abandoned bridge, the darkness closing in around her. Not once did she look back, a rush of fear propelling her forward, guilt gnawing at her insides, praying that Libby and Abby had been wise enough to run away. She ran to her car and went to her boyfriend's, not knowing what to do. Her grandma called asking if she had heard from Libby. She gasped out a frantic explanation, her words tumbling over one another in a desperate plea for help. Her family, alarmed by her panic, immediately called the police and organized a search party. Meanwhile, as it grew dark, Kelsi's thoughts raced back to her sister and Abby. They were still at the bridge, still in danger. Hours passed without any sign of her sister. Kelsi's family frantically scoured the nearby woods while the police combed the area, but the girls were nowhere to be found. As the first light of dawn broke, sadness permeated the search effort as the police turned their focus towards a clearer picture of the night. It wasn't long before they stumbled upon the grim discovery in the nearby woods, 2 bodies, hidden away among the thickets. The news shattered Kelsi. She had felt the weight of guilt settle heavily on her chest, suffocating her every breath, but in her desperate sprint for safety, she had left her little sister and her best friend behind. The town mourned, and a sense of loss washed over the community. Kelsi learned too late the dangers lurking beneath the surface of a shimmering screen. The bridge remained, haunted by memories and shadows, a stark reminder of the fragile nature of trust, safety, and the consequences. As the police questioned everyone, Kelsi's mind raced, replaying the night in fragments. Guilt wrapped around her heart like a noose. She hadn't just failed to protect her sister, in her jealousy and desperation, she had sealed her fate. In the following days, Kelsi numbly went through the motions of mourning while grappling with her own role in the tragedy. The world, once filled with possibility, now felt cold and empty. The bridge now stood as a grave marker of innocence lost, echoing both the sisters' laughter and desperate cries. Jealousy had transformed a protector's heart and led her to a devastating end she could never undo. The responsibility of that secret would haunt her for the rest of her life. I do not believe the murders of Abby and Libby were random. I do not know what happened down under the bridge, but I do believe what led them there that day was supposed to be a meet-up. A meet-up that got them killed. Well, 2 of the 3. This is my opinion, nothing more.